daughters, sisters, and wives. They're gonna change our lives. Be women, be girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Welcome to the Invest in Her podcast series, where we always have on amazing female founders and funders. And today we have on an incredible guest. She is the founder of IFundWomen. Please welcome Kate Anderson. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Catherine. So nice to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Great to have you here. Well, every week I try to provide resources for women that have amazing ideas and incredible businesses, but they need funding. And so we are excited to talk to you today about your incredible platform that helps women get educated about how to get funding, can use your platform, IFundWomen, to get funding, can use your coaching to help develop their options of how to fund their ideas and inventions. And so I'm super excited to have you on today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. And you're exactly right. IFundWomen is the go-to funding marketplace for women-owned businesses and the people who want to support them with access to capital, like you mentioned, coaching and connection. So it's really exciting. Looking forward to talk to you.
It's so interesting. Just a little background for you. You told me you were born in New Jersey. I do not hear a Jersey accent.
I don't have one. I know.
Yeah, I can see that. And now you're in Boston and you don't have a Boston accent.
I don't, but I have 3 kids and our oldest daughter has a real Boston accent, which is really funny to hear.
Yeah, I have relatives from Boston and they're always parking the car. Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. So what made you decide to launch IFundWomen? By the way, I went to your website and it's ifundwomen.com, right?
Yep, that's correct.
And I love that it's full of resources. So I really enjoyed the video you had on that talked about all the different ways women can get funding, from SBA loans to angel investors to venture capital, of course, crowdfunding, which you do, grants, which are located on your site as well. And so let's talk about all those and talk about how your funding, crowdfunding, differs from other options out there like Gofundme or Kickstarter. Yep. Tell me about that. And well, let's start with that. How does IFundWomen crowdfunding differ? And I love that you teach people how to make it successful, because there really is an art to it.
Totally. So you're exactly right, Catherine. What we know right now is in the US, women are starting 1,800 net new businesses every single day. Wow. But there are a complete lack of early stage funding options for female entrepreneurs. So what exists in the marketplace right now? Bootstrapping. Probably the best way to get your business off the ground if you have the capability. So what's bootstrapping is spending your own funds to start or grow your business. Mm-hmm. This could be money that you have in savings. This could be taking money out of your 401k. Obviously, if you don't have a lot of money to take out, it's hard to really get your business going. Another option is credit cards. Lots of small business owners put expenses on their credit cards. Or they take out loans. We fundamentally believe at IFundWomen that in the earliest days of your startup, you should not go into debt funding the earliest days of your startup. And why? Because most startups fail, and that has nothing to do with your fault or a mistake you made or poor leadership. It's like the restaurant business, right? I think it's like 70% of restaurants fail. The stats for startups are very high, and we don't believe that you should then, have a failing startup and then also have to pay back this loan.
Good advice.
Yeah. And I think that I wish more people would speak about that. And unfortunately, when it comes to getting loans, women get smaller loan amounts at higher interest rates. The algorithms that banks have to look at who has historically paid back loans looks at who has historically taken loans, which is men a lot of the time. not that long ago, and in some places still, men have to co-sign on loans with women. It is harder for women to independently get loans for themselves. So
we definitely need to change that, don't we?
we really do, yeah.
Imbalanced, yeah.
But what we're trying to do at IFundWomen is find what's the other path. And we believe rewards-based crowdfunding is an excellent way to raise the initial seed capital you need from your business to get it off the ground.
Now, wait a minute. What did you call it? Rewards-based
Crowdfunding. So for people that aren't familiar with crowdfunding, there are two types of crowdfunding: rewards-based crowdfunding and equity-based crowdfunding. Rewards-based crowdfunding is when people are giving money to your campaign in exchange for a reward, something tangible, but they are not getting equity in your business. So this is not messing up a cap table. They don't have any ownership in your business. It's simply like they're buying something from you in exchange for you getting that money up front to be able to manufacture something.
And let me just interject there. I'm sure you would agree that it's also a fantastic way to find out if there is a demand for your product. So it's almost like testing the waters, right? Because a lot of crowdfunding that have offered products, they've done so well that they know when they go to market, they've got something that people need or want.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And there are a lot of traditional uses for crowdfunding, rewards-based crowdfunding, which is I'm manufacturing this widget. It costs $10,000. Instead of spending my own $10,000, I want to make sure that once I manufacture this widget, people will want to buy it. So what I will do is I'll do a crowdfunding campaign to ensure that I raise that money, there's demand for what it is I want, and then I will ship that widget. That's kind of like the most commonly thought of use for crowdfunding. But
I just want to interject one thing there. So I've heard even large companies sometimes do this type of crowdfunding to see if their product's going to go, even though they don't even need the money. So it's really interesting way for a startup with somebody with an idea to see if there actually is a demand for that product. I think it's brilliant what you're saying. They don't go into debt. They're not borrowing money. And they're also seeing if they have a product that's, something people are going to want.
Yeah, Catherine, you're exactly right. And what we tell people too is if you do a campaign and it's not successful, while that might be disappointing, you didn't go and spend $10,000 to manufacture, said widget, and nobody wants to buy it. So it's able to assess that demand. Another great aspect of rewards-based crowdfunding is it allows you to invite your audience into what it is you're doing. So let's say I'm a mom to 3 little kids, which is an accurate story. And I create a product for moms. Well, guess what? I have a lot of people in my network that are not moms that I know would want to support me, but wouldn't want this product that I'm creating. Maybe their kids are older. Maybe they're men. Maybe they don't want it, but they still want to support your business. Well, it would be very socially awkward for them to give you $50 or $100 for your business. And maybe they can't give $5,000 or $10,000 as a part of an angel round, but to contribute to a campaign that you're doing, to give $100, not have anything in return, and be able to feel good that they've supported you. That's really the power of online fundraising. And we've seen it especially right now during COVID, when a lot of us have felt like our hands are tied behind our backs because we can't help out in other ways that we normally would, that we can be able to help people out, in a monetary way that we feel comfortable with. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. And I think it's great that you started this. What does set your platform apart from like Kickstarter or Gofundme?
Yeah.
Why would people want to use your platform, IFundWomen?
That's a great question. So when we started IFundWomen, we knew that you had to be taught how to crowdfund or to raise money online. And we wanted to make sure that coaching was completely linked to what we built. So we built a crowdfunding platform with a coaching component with it. It is not, you do not have to participate in the coaching program, but what we know is the most successful fundraisers on our platform are people who have invested in coaching. They've prepared for a campaign. They understand what they're doing. They set a goal that they know that they can hit. They understand who they're reaching out to and what they're saying to them. They have a pitch that's honed, all of these things. And what we don't want is someone to go into something saying, oh, well, I've seen these campaigns on this platform do really well, therefore I will do well. The success of any crowdfunding platform comes down to your success going into it. But we have a lot of measures at IFundWomen to help our entrepreneurs be more successful. We have a video production studio that films videos for people. We have a lot of free coaching resources on IFundWomen. But I think my favorite differentiator between us and other platforms is we have a pay it forward model, that at the end of every month, we take 20% of the revenue IFundWomen makes from crowdfunding fees on our platform, and we directly reinvest them into live campaigns on the site. We do this at the beginning of every month, and it's our way to give money back to female entrepreneurs. In addition to that, we have partnered with huge enterprises like Visa, American Express, Adidas, Unilever, P&G, to put money directly into the hands of female entrepreneurs through grant programs on our platform. So really, like, our North Star, like if I were to have something written in my office, it would be funding volume for female entrepreneurs. Let's get money into the hands of female entrepreneurs. And while we're doing that, let's make sure they have access to the coaching that they need to scale and grow successful businesses.
Well, I love what you're doing because, and I don't know if you know this, but I just did a TED Talk called Fund Women Save the World. And it's about how underfunded women are. I think a lot of people don't know that. I try to talk about it on the show every week about, that we get less than 3% of venture capital and less than 15% of traditional funding. So we need other types of methods of raising money.
Yeah.
What I love most about what you just said is we talked about how crowdfunding can be a great way to test the waters and see if your product is going to be viable. But the other side of that, and you just hit the nail on the head, is that you really don't get the results or the benefit of that unless you do the crowdfunding campaign correctly. And that's what I love most about what you're doing, Kate, is that you have that coaching component, because having done them myself and having seen friends do them and not have them be successful, realize there is an art to it. And you really have to know what you're doing in order for it to be successful and for it to actually bring the results that are real. Like, is your product really great, or did you just not run the campaign correctly, but you had a great product? Yeah.
And what we tell people, what we see a lot of the time is it's hard to get out of your own way. A lot of our entrepreneurs say, well, I don't want to tell anybody about my product. What if they take it? What if they do and you never did anything about it, and you kept it so precious that you never actually executed? Or what if you kept your idea so precious you never told anybody about it, that nobody actually wants what it is? It solves a problem that you have, but it doesn't solve a problem that anybody else has. And that's where we believe, like, you have to just move forward with it. Staying where you are, you're not going to move forward at all. You're not going to raise capital. It's not going to be a big idea. And we also tell people, like with any business, you could create the best product in the world that would make everyone's lives better. But if you never tell anybody about it, you create a website for it and never tell people about it, well, people aren't going to just find it organically in Google. Like, you have to spread the word. And it has to start with you being the biggest brand evangelist for your brand. And then you have to really be willing to kind of like tell every single person about it.
I also love that you said that you give back, because everything I do with our She Angels Foundation, which is our nonprofit, and our She Angels series, which is our Pitch Fest and series that follows the journeys of these female entrepreneurs, is that it is so important that once you are successful, that you give back and pay it forward. And that is what's going to help the female underfunding problem, or that's one of the things, is that once a woman gets successful, to become an angel investor and invest in crowdfunding or invest in equity funding or whatever, to pay it forward. And I think that we have to perpetuate that mentality of paying it forward.
Yeah. And that's where we're so lucky to partner with such amazing brands who that's what their mission is to make sure that these female entrepreneurs are getting the cash flow that they need to come in to help their business launch and grow and be more successful.
I love that. And people can go to your website, IFundWomen, and find the grants that are available through these company sponsors, right?
Yeah. If you go to ifundwomen.com
Yeah.
and you hit grants on the, you'll be able to get there and see. And we have lots of different grant programs running for various businesses at different stages.
Right. I love that. Whether it's a startup or a seasoned business that wants to scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, crowdfunding is certainly a wonderful path. Like you said, it doesn't incur any debt. You don't have to give away any equity. What made you decide to launch this? Like, how did you get into that space? Had you done your own crowdfunding?
That's a great question. Yeah. So our CEO, my co-founder, Karen Kahn, along with my other co-founder, Sarah Summers, we had a previous company before, and it was a company where we did all of the kind of common startup mistakes. We built a product that was really perfect and nobody wanted to use it. We spent a lot of money on it. We did not follow like the lean startup method of building a very simple MVP, seeing if people want to use it, test, learning, and iterating. We didn't do that. As a last ditch effort, we did a crowdfunding campaign to save our company. And it was during that time that we realized nobody was speaking directly to female entrepreneurs. There was not one platform that was trying to meet the direct needs of female entrepreneurs, that they don't only need lack of access to, they don't only complain about a lack of access to capital. It's also a lack of access to coaching and mentors and to other connections with female entrepreneurs. And we believe, like with every business, someone could give you $100 million, but if you don't have the mentors, the coaches to be successful, your business will flounder. And so we want to really make sure that we're giving the entrepreneurs at IFundWomen the ability to really level up, because it's what we wanted. We didn't have it. And when we kind of got the idea for IFundWomen, we started doing a lot of market research. We posted in all different Facebook groups that me and my co-founders were a part of to see, like, is there demand for it? And it was a resounding yes. Like in our first call for applications, I think in a day we got 100 or 200 people filling out applications. And we wanted to launch small. We launched with a beta group of 25 female entrepreneurs. But we realized like people wanted another option that was not just venture capital. That was all people heard was venture capital, venture capital, venture capital. And the fact of the matter is, while women get such a small piece of the pie of venture capital, I think a larger discussion is that venture capital is just not right for most businesses. Only 1% of businesses get venture capital. It's because it's not the right funding path for so many businesses.
And I do think that women should be allowed to get more venture capital. I mean, less than 3% is just ridiculous. But like you're saying, well, if it is that difficult to get venture capital, here's an alternative. And that's what I like about what you're doing. And I think there's always room at the table for all these different avenues. And I think we do need to level the playing field from SBA loans to venture capital to angel investing. It needs to be leveled out where 50% of the population, women-owned businesses tend to outperform male counterparts. So why not invest more money in women? But I always say that we're waiting for men to invest in us, and how's that working for us? So it has to be more about women investing in women for sure. And I just love this platform that you're doing. And I love that you can do it from your home. Like you don't have to go out and rent an expensive office. We all know that being entrepreneurs, that the best thing that could happen during COVID is that you're working out of your home office and you don't have to pay for an office space. One of the best ways to start a business is to keep those expenses down.
Oh, totally.
And I love that your crowdfunding platform, because it's online, it is something that could be done during COVID. And I think people during this year of unrest are looking for ways to make a difference on the planet. And I always say, if you don't have that great idea that's going to help make the world a better place, then invest in somebody who does. And so I think, it'd be wonderful for people to go over to IFundWomen and see what campaigns you have going on that they could get behind that are women-owned startups. So they go to IFundWomen and they can look for a campaign to get behind.
Yeah, if you click Fund Startups, and you can find a variety of startups. We also have different categories. So if you're really interested in lifestyle or or food or business services or technology. You can click on any of those categories and you can find startups that look appealing to you. And I highly recommend everybody on this who listens to this podcast to go over there and find a startup and give them whatever you can, $5, $10, $100. People love getting support from people that they don't know. And we have so many amazing campaigns in a wide variety of topics raising capital on IFundWomen right now.
I imagine that you're like me, being in this space. I just love hearing about amazing inventions and ideas and innovations that women come up with, and throughout the years, throughout history, so many incredible women have had such incredible breakthroughs that have helped change the course of the world. And so, it's so fun and exciting to go to your site and see what are some of the ideas and innovations that people are coming up with that you can get behind. And like you said, whether it's $5, $100, $1,000, whatever you can do, it's a feel good, anytime we're doing something for someone else. And I think COVID is a wonderful time for us to get outside ourselves and do something for someone else. So what better thing could they do today than go over to IFundWomen, see who they could get behind and help make a difference to some woman entrepreneur that needs the funding.
So I love that call to action, especially since I don't know if this will go live in December, but we're recording this in December. And so it's the holiday season where people are more in a giving mode. But yeah, I highly recommend that people check out all the awesome campaigns and the problems that women are solving.
Right. And this may come out in January, but whenever it comes out, the beautiful thing is that we should be giving all year round.
Yeah,
it's exactly something that we should make a daily or weekly practice out of. And so, every month they could pop into IFundWomen and see what's the latest and greatest. And then also maybe get some cool product that somebody's producing that isn't even on the market yet. That's what I think is cool too. Yeah. What has been one of your favorite success stories? I know you have some testimonials on the site, but do you have one or two favorites that come to mind?
Yeah, I think that we kind of all measure success in different ways. There are campaigns that I've loved that have raised $2,500, and that's been really, really meaningful for their business. And there are other campaigns that have raised, six figures. There are so many campaigns. I think one that I especially love is called Bharat Babies. It was creating Southeast Asian books, children's books for kids. Children's books for kids. That's redundant. But with the idea that so many children's books don't represent cultural traditions of growing up in Southeast Asia. I have a niece who is Indian, and I love to be able to get her books from Bharat Babies to say, so that you see books where children look like you. And I think that really feels really, really critical to be able to see yourself in other things.
And I'm not surprised that came from a woman. I just think women have different sensitivities, and she probably saw a niche and a need for that. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, there's another campaign on there right now called Little Cocoa Beans, and they're making baby food, but that has more unique ingredients in it that reflect the cultural traditions of people all over the country or all over the world. That, bananas and apples are very much a American type baby food. In other parts of the country, people are eating jicama, or they're eating chayote, or all of these other ingredients that I'd never heard of before. And so they're creating baby food that reflects, other foods, other traditions. And I love in other cultures. I love ones that focus on representation and culture.
I love that. And I'm telling you, it takes women to come up with these really unique innovations. And, if venture capital or angel investors aren't going to take advantage of that, then let crowdfunding be one of the biggest sources of funding that anybody can get into. That's what I love. In order to be an angel investor, you have to have a certain amount of wealth and ability to invest a significant amount, or same for venture capital. But I love crowdfunding because anybody can get into the game.
Yeah, I love that.
That's really cool. Well, I just love what you're doing. I hope people wander over to IFundWomen. I'm sure many people will, to see what's cooking and what's new and what's exciting. I know I certainly will be doing that myself. And Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for providing this wonderful resource and the coaching so that they make it a successful crowdfunding experience. I think that's so important that you're giving that kind of support and that it's for women. Yay. So thank you so much, Kate. I appreciate all that you're doing.
My pleasure. It's so nice to be on here with you. So glad to be a guest.
Thank you. And remember to invest in her. Stay tuned with us each week. Be sure to follow IFundWomen on social media and She Angels on our social media. We loved having you here, and we hope you go out and invest in women. Take care. Make it a great day.
Our theme music was created and produced by Lindsay Tomasic.